So we are moving right along, and I have two blog posts kind of lined out. I'm not 100% sure this is how I want them to be formatted, but this is pretty close. So we have the little counter here. We have the skill level, which I was thinking one thing I might do is just use the three boxes. So we have, I think what I'm going to do is beginner, intermediate, and advanced. So let's go in there and do that. Let's go to the wireless game show buzzer, and we will go to that little skill icon, and we will call it, let's go beginner. Let's get rid of the word novice. And that one will be the one block. And so then I think what I'm going to do is save that. And then I'm going to go back to the other blog post. And you can see I've deleted the ones that I wasn't using, and I'll explain why in a second. And we're going to come in and we are going to change this one. This one says beginner, but it has the 0 blocks. So I think I'm only going to use the 1, 2, and 3 blocks. So let me click over here and then over here. So that's going to give me some consistency there. Quick little cleanup. Now, one thing I'm kind of struggling with is I don't really like this giant space up here. I like having the option to have the green, but I'm not a big fan. I just think this is way too much screen real estate for the amount of content I have. So what I'm going to do is let's go to this is the Cricut post. So we are going to drag this down into this. In fact, let's take the whole divider. Let's take this thing, the whole wrap. So now we have, this is all in this section. Let me make sure, I don't think that actually went anywhere. Let's try that one more time. So we're going to drag this in here. So now we have this empty section that I'm just going to hide. And that should get rid of the green. And in fact, we can drag that down to the bottom so we can save it for later if we decide we want to use that again. So if I refresh, we're on the game show buzzer. So let me go to the other post. You can do view post. And you can see this is why I don't want to do a whole lot of duplicating at this point, but I'm going to show you how this is going to work. So, all right, we got rid of that green, and it does look a little bit more simplistic, but I think it's the way to go. Let's take a look at one more thing that we may want to do there, and let's make that an H2. Let's make that kind of huge. So each of those H's is a heading size, and in general, 1 is the biggest, going to 6 is the smallest, but sometimes H2 is actually the biggest one. So yeah, you can see that's a little small there. So what we're going to do, we're going to come in and change that to H1. See how that looks. Update that. A lot of this stuff is just, yeah, it's playing around. So now we have a basic format. Now what I would like to do is go and make those changes on the other post. And so we're going to take this and we're going to drag this in like we did over here. And we're going to hide this and we're going to drag it down to the bottom. And now we are going to change that to an H1. So H1, H1, save, update. So now our blog posts are consistent. So I'm not ready to make a whole bunch more posts. As you can see, I have gotten rid of the posts for the other categories. So there's a place for them, but they're not actually doing anything right now. So what I would like to do is come into my post manager. We can close this. And I'm going to make a template. And one of the reasons why I do this is that I like to keep these things consistent as I start duplicating them. So we're going to go to all posts. And we're going to take one of these and we're going to hit this clone button. And so we have clone and it's set as a draft right now. So we're not actually published. So we're going to edit this one and we are just going to call this one template like this. And we're not going to publish it, but we're going to come down here. We're going to delete any categories we have. We're going to delete any tags we have. And then we're going to save the draft. And the reason why I did that is because at this point, when I make future blog posts, what I would like them to do is have all the same styling. And so if I wanted to, I could also come in here and delete this video tag and all that stuff. But for now, I'm going to leave this alone. and I'm just going to save the draft. And then now when I go to all posts, when I'm ready to make my next post, all I would do is clone the template, and I can edit any one of these. It really doesn't matter. And I can say using a router, okay, something like that. And then I can just come in and give it a category of, let's say, tips and tricks. I can give it a post or a tag called router. And eventually I would change my featured image. Let's just change it to something else here real quick. We will set a featured image of that, and then we would publish. And now you'll see that immediately in that same format, we have a new blog post, and obviously each one of these would need to be updated, but we're given the basic template that I created. And so doing something like that, making a template post, is super handy for being able to crank out your post. And obviously you have to remember to change things every time you do it, but it's ready to go. So that is a pretty good tip. Now the next thing I want to do is we're going to look at plugins a little bit. And so this one here has code, and I don't really have, if you look at this post, let me go back to the main page here. So you go back here and we have this game show buzzer one, and there's no place for the code down here. Now I could just paste the code, but what I want to do is I want to make this a little bit more specific, and this is the perfect use of a plugin. And so what I would do is go to the plugin manager and hit add new. So the type of plugin I'm looking for is called a syntax highlighter, and I think what I want to use, there's a bunch of them, but I've played around with this one, Code Mirror Blocks. It's not my absolute favorite, but I think it'll work well for what I'm trying to do here, so I can always swap it out later. But I'm going to install it and activate it. This plugin gives us a cool feature that we will need, and so I don't really know what all these themes are, so let's we'll just call this idea. I do want to show line numbers. Wrap long lines is great. Let's save changes. And now what we're going to do is we are going to go to our post, and we're going to edit it. And now in this situation we get a new button up here, and so I'm going to click this, and then I'm going to take all the code that I wanted to paste into that project, and I'm going to save it right there. And then what I want to do is use that button down the bottom, which is probably already on, but this button that says hide the content, I want to keep that on. And then what I think I want to do is, let's say, add a new wrap here and put the WP content that I put up top, I want to put that down here so that this code goes the width of the screen. And now when I update it, I should be able to view post. And you'll see that, yeah, I have a nice simple code editor. Now I could, or code viewer, I could play with the styling of that, and I may for some future revisions, but essentially this is the code. Maybe what we'll do is we'll add something like the code right here and wrap it in, I don't know, H4 tags. I don't remember what we've been using, but H4 tags should be close enough. And we will refresh the page, and we have the code down here. We might do a symbol or something like that, but you get the idea. So I've created my basic template of what I want a blog post to look like, and I'm ready to move on to a different part of the project. So thanks for watching, and we'll do something cool in the next video.